For reasons I still can't fully explain, I once decided to trust a very small, very local credit union with my money. I remember the logic clearly. Big banks felt cold, corporate, automated. You were never a person, just an account number attached to a help desk ticket that would eventually time out. A local credit union, on the other hand, promised community values, friendly staff, human judgment, the kind of place where people knew your face, not just your balance. At least that's what I told myself. For the first few months, everything worked fine. Deposits went through, bills were paid, nothing remarkable happened, which, in banking, is exactly what you want. Then one morning on my way to work, I stopped at an ATM to pull out some cash. The machine accepted my card, made a few mechanical noises, paused, and then spat it back out with a bland error message. Transaction unavailable. I frowned and tried again. Same message. Thinking the ATM might be broken, I walked to another one a few blocks away. Same result. The card worked, the account existed, but no cash. At this point, mildly annoyed but not panicked, I walked into the credit union branch itself. Inside, everything looked exactly how you'd expect. Beige walls, quiet hum of printers, a few people waiting patiently. I explained the situation to the clerk behind the counter. She nodded like this wasn't unusual at all. "Oh yeah," she said casually. "The ATM network's been acting up. I can give you a code that lets you withdraw cash directly from your account." She wrote down a short numeric code and explained how it worked. This wasn't some special exception or favor. It was an official feature of their system. I entered the code, got my cash, thanked her, and walked out. I didn't think about it again. I should have. A few days later, I tried logging into my online banking account. Wrong password. I reset it. Still wrong. Then a red message appeared. Account unavailable. Please contact support. That was the first moment I felt something tighten in my chest. I called customer support and waited on hold for nearly 30 minutes before someone finally answered. After checking my details, the agent said my account had been flagged for review. Review for what? I asked. There was an accounting discrepancy, she said. A transaction was deducted late. I explained that I hadn't overdrawn my account. I hadn't spent money I didn't have. The issue was clearly internal. Yes, she said flatly. But the system flagged it anyway. How long will the review take? I can't give you a timeline. That answer should have scared me more than it did. At first, I assumed it would take a day or two, maybe a week. Bureaucracy is slow, but not that slow, right? Days passed, then a full week. My account was completely frozen. I couldn't withdraw money. I couldn't transfer funds. Automatic payments began bouncing. Every dollar I had was trapped behind a system error I didn't create. I called again. This time, the tone was different. The agent sounded irritated, like I was calling about a problem I'd already been warned not to ask about. You just have to wait, she said. For how long? As long as it takes. Another week passed. I called again. This agent sighed audibly before answering. When I asked if the issue could be escalated, she laughed, not loudly, but enough to make it clear she didn't take me seriously. That's not how it works, she said. Then came the comments. They weren't explicit. They never are. One agent asked me to repeat my last name, slowly. Another remarked, "These things happen more often with non-local customers." Someone else said, "You people usually move money in unusual ways." Every sentence was carefully phrased. Nothing you could quote in a complaint, nothing openly racist. But the message was unmistakable. You are not one of us, and your problem is not a priority. By the time a full month had passed, my frustration had turned into something colder. This wasn't about money anymore. It was about being ignored, dismissed, quietly judged because my name didn't sound familiar enough. One night, drained and angry, I called my family back home just to vent. I wasn't asking for advice. I just needed to say it out loud. After I finished explaining everything, there was a brief silence. Then my younger cousin spoke. "I have an idea," he said. "It's kind of dumb, but it might work." He told me about an online service he'd heard of, based in Russia. The concept was strange but simple. For a small payment, real people would post messages you provided on social media platforms. Complaints, reviews, comments. Each post cost a few rubles. 1 ruble was roughly 1 US cent. The website even allowed targeting. American-looking profiles, European users, generic locals, different ages, different writing styles. At first, I laughed. It sounded absurd, desperate, almost childish. Then I looked at my frozen bank account. I realized something. Polite phone calls had gotten me nowhere. Following the rules had gotten me nowhere. Waiting patiently had gotten me nowhere. So I spent $3. I used AI to generate multiple complaint variations. Nothing illegal, nothing threatening, just realistic customer stories. Delayed accounts, locked funds, discrimination concerns, terrible support experiences. I uploaded them, selected platforms, chose profiles, and clicked submit. Then I did nothing. The next morning, I woke up to silence. By noon, my phone started buzzing. The credit union's Facebook page was flooded. Twitter replies stacked endlessly under every post. Google reviews tanked in real time. Hundreds of complaints appeared within hours. Different wording, different profiles. Same core message. This bank froze my account for weeks. They treat immigrants terribly. No transparency, no communication. Avoid at all costs. By early afternoon, the credit union stopped posting entirely. Then my phone rang. The caller ID showed the credit union's number. This time, it wasn't customer support. It was the call center manager. His voice was calm, professional, almost warm. He told me they understood my frustration, that the situation had been mishandled, that internal errors had caused unnecessary delays. Then he made an offer. If I wanted to close my account, they would immediately transfer my entire balance to any bank I chose. On top of that, they would add $50 as compensation for the inconvenience. All we ask, he said carefully, is that we resolve this positively. I didn't accuse them of anything. I didn't mention social media. I simply agreed. 2 days later, the money arrived. Every dollar, plus 50 more. Problem solved. The credit union likely realized two things at once. First, their reputation was bleeding. Second, there was no possible way to prove who caused it. As for the Russian posts, they're still there. I don't know how to remove them. I never tried. After a month of being ignored, mocked, and quietly judged, that's not my problem anymore. All it took was $3, the best money I've ever spent.